Yeah, but you're not any musician because it's just the first time I'm watching you, if I can be straight up with you, that I get a feeling you're walking on eggshells a little bit. And I understand, so I don't want to put you in a bad position. But you've always been the vocal one, right? You've been the one that says Barack Obama should be given his Nobel Prize of 2009 back, similar to who gave his MBA back? Was it Lenin? Is that the one?
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about American elites. I think they're generally the same, whichever family it is. You know, I do think that, like, on a spiritual level, I have to look at it from a spiritual perspective.
Right.
And spiritually, a lot has happened to me in the last 15 years that my son has been around. And I try to make sense of it thinking, okay, you have an elite class in America, which is what I was introduced to, okay? Talking about Jay-Z like he wasn't an elite then, but is in there now. That's one thing. But you're talking about this situation, and to me, the Brahmins, I try to see it from a spiritual perspective, which is when I discovered my name is the goddess of music in Hinduism, what I learnt was that there's an elite class of people called the Brahmins, and Brahmins held the keys to the temples and knowledge, and they looked after this wealth and knowledge and had the power in society in India, you know. And then Matangi, the goddess, she represents the untouchables, who are the people in the hood and the ghettos, and they were the voices. And, you know, spiritually saying that, the Brahmins sound very similar to the Brahmins and also play a very similar role in society, that they do hold the key to institutions and places and, you know, the power of who gets in and out of what, you know, the same way I think other families do. And they are supposed to be in tune with the gods and spiritually gatekeeping. You know, that's what the role of the Brahmins are, is to spiritually gatekeep this access to God. Like if you look in the ancient times, how spiritual people advised kings and queens and the monarchy, spirituality and the ruling class was supposed to be kind of on the same, you know, that they were supposed to have an understanding. So if you're, you know, it's like the chessboard. You have the bishop next to the king and queen, you know, and they advise how the knights are and who protects the castle. And like that, the role of the Brahmins or any elite family in America or in the world is supposed to be very in tune with spirituality. And they were, you know, in tune with doing God's work. And so I was trying to see it from a, you know, spiritual perspective, to be like, you can't just go all out and say crazy shit, because society does need people like, you know, or not does need, but in society you can't help that the structure is a pyramid. You know, that is America. America's set up as a pyramid structure. It's the man-made way to digest society, is that you have power at the top and everything filters down to the bottom. And some people are at the bottom and we want to affect what is at the top. And this is the war. And I feel like, yes, I probably come from the upside down triangle where you're representing the people and you want to ask the questions about how you're being led, you know, and they are the opposite, where they are at the top and they control, like, you know, they're part of the system of what gets filtered down. But sometimes it's, you know, important to be the edge finder of these things. And I've always said this from day one being an artist, is that I was the edge finder just by saying the wrongest things or going up against somebody, which I'm, which is very spontaneous and happens quite naturally. I've found the edges of society. I've found the edges of America. I've found the edges of whatever that's going after Kanye West. And, I found the edges of the intelligence community, and I found the edges of all of this was completely by, going up against this stuff. So I can't really say I know the shape of this thing and this is what this is because I don't know. I feel like my brain operates differently, and I'm in a different way of understanding stuff. And it's not like me and Edgar are close, like we never were, I think it was always quite separate. And my son has this very separate understanding of the world,
In these uncertain times, if there's anything we need people to believe the future looks bright. So if you've heard about me saying this mission to you, we're on a mission to get 1 million people to wear this gear. And this is what we're doing. If you buy one of these hats, there's a category of buying one hat, getting the second one free. If you haven't yet worn this gear publicly, go ahead and test it out. Buy some of the gear, wear it in public, and see how many people will stop by and say, you also watch Valuetainment? You also follow PBD Podcast? I do too. Place your order. Go to vtmerch.com, click on the link above or below, place your order, and represent the VT and the PBD Podcast gear.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.